Banana slam jam.
Any tips on how to stop being toxic? It really is simple, man. It's not easy to do, but it's a simple explanation. Simply focus on what you could do better in the game. So say you're in lane, and your teammate is playing horribly, and he's like feeding. How can you make the best out of his feed? Act like you're playing poker and you have a shitty hand. How are you going to adjust that you have shitty cards? And in this case, you're going to lose the hand. But how do you lose the least amount of money in that specific hand? You know, you're dealt a bad hand, but you need to lose the least amount of money. Sometimes you got to fold and just let him die. You know, sometimes you got to try to go for the bluff and see if it works. You know, you got to make the play and see if you can make up for it. But rather than thinking to yourself, man, my teammate's feeding, woe was me, you need to think, what can I do with this? And it should always stem from what you can do with what's happening in the game. Treat your teammates like they are literal pieces of a puzzle, like they are cards. Don't treat them like they're humans in regards to, like, oh, this is some guy ruining my day. You know, no, it's just a guy that's influencing your game in an objective way. He's either making it harder to win or he's making it easier to win. How is he making it harder to win? How is he making it easier to win? What can you do? Because that guy's, like, if your guy mid lane's winning by 4 levels, that should change the way you play. Maybe as a carry, you can be more greedy, or maybe, you know, you can be participating in fights because you're a Faceless Void and the mid laner does a lot of damage in Chrono, so you can show up to fights earlier, even though it's not a very good Faceless Void game, you know? But if your teammate's feeding in lane, there's definitely things you can do to make it less bad. There's things you can do to make it the least bad, and that's like what you have to do if you want to not be toxic. Every day that I'm toxic, I am dwelling on what my teammates are doing wrong. Every day. Every single day. There's no exception to that. And it doesn't make Dota, like, more enjoyable. It makes it feel like you don't have control. It makes it feel like other people are ruining your day and all that kind of shit. And it's not, like, good for you. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you enjoy it more. It makes you feel good for the moment that you're blaming that guy. That's when it feels good. Later on in the day, you're not in a good mood. At the end of the game, you probably lost if you were thinking that. Like, it doesn't make you... there's no positive other than in the exact moment where you're like, oh, it feels good to be right. Like, that's what it is. It really is. It's just you feeling good about being right. But, like, you're not here to be right. You're here to win a game of Dota. And if... I mean, you can be right if you want, but it's like, you're not going to enjoy yourself more. You're not, like, a happier person because of being right. So, that was my biggest thing to let go. Is a lot of times, like, when I was Drow earlier, and I was really toxic to my Undying in lane, we were on a different page, you know? I don't even care who was right or wrong. Like, it could have been me that was wrong. Like, I wanted him to help me. He said if he was near me, I would have gotten Splinter blasted, so that's why he didn't do it. And I was really upset at the time because I died. But I immediately caught myself saying, what the fuck, I'm gonna mute this guy. Like, I don't want to interact with this guy because I know I'll be toxic, I'm gonna mute him. And at the end of the game, I said sorry. Like I said, sorry for being really toxic to you in lane. Maybe the guy already had me muted. Maybe he didn't give a shit. But, like, I knew I was being toxic, and I had to, like, let myself reset mentally. So, dude, that was fucking crazy. That, like, fucking Thompson, dude. Jesus Christ. I'm a happier person only if I see plus 30 or else I don't. See, that's the problem, right? It's actually really bad to think that way. It's actually really bad for you. So, you're welcome to think that way, and I thought that way for a really long time. It's not something to be proud of. It's not something that you should think, I'm all about winning, and I'm a winner. And if I'm not winning, I'm miserable. I mean, then you're just going to be, like, Dota's going to make you fucking miserable, dude. Like, congratulations. You're a miserable person half the games of Dota you play. Go you. You know, it's not something to be proud of. Like, I was like that for so fucking long. And I was like, I'm just competitive. I just want to win. Nobody likes that kind of person, man. Nobody likes that shit. Like, people want you to try. People want you to care about being better. There's a big difference between playing to be the best that you can be and playing to win. There's a big difference. Big difference. One of them, you care whether or not you played the best. Win or loss, doesn't matter. And if you mess up, you'll look to improve. Even if you won. There's plenty of games that you win that you played pretty bad, right? So why would you be happy based on an external thing that you can't control? Because at the end of the day, you are trying to... You're not trying. You're having your mood be decided by something you don't control. You cannot act like you control whether or not you win most Dota games. Like, you are not in control of winning. You are in control of how much you contribute to the game. And if you contribute more than the other guy in the carry role, or the support role, or the mid role, you will on average win more games than you lose. And that's just how it is. You are not in control of whether or not you win or lose. And, like, facing that fact is really important. But it's, I'm not trying to, it sounds like I'm trying to, like, preach something to you guys. It probably sounds like that. But honestly, I hope you guys can learn something, because I learned a lot. I learned it from people that are way smarter than me when it comes to this stuff. I've had a lot of privilege to be able to talk to people like this, meet people like this, and learn from people like this. And I'm just doing my best to, like, tell you guys what I've learned. It's not perfect, but I'm just trying. If you don't want it, absolutely fine. It's a numbers game. You can't play well enough to 1v9, but you can play better to increase your win rate. So, the thing is, my proof of argument, when I say, like, you can't control whether or not you win, there are games where you will be 25, 0, and 10, and you will lose. And there are games where you will be 1, 10, and 20, and you'll win. Like, that alone is proof that you cannot control whether or not you win. You can only control how impactful you are in the game. There are plenty of games where you will play very well, and you will lose. And there's also plenty of games where you play very poorly, and you win. Simply put, you're not in control of winning or losing. You have an impact on whether or not you win or lose, but you cannot control it. That, for me, was probably the most important realization. The combination of you're not in control of whether or not you win or lose, and the fact that happiness should be decided by, like, enjoyment of what you do should be decided by things you can control. Because you're a constant. Your teammates, the environment around you, results in the game, like what happened during your day, these are all changing dynamics. And you can't control these things. And if you let them affect you, you will be inconsistent, you'll be all over the place. And, like, at the end of the fucking day, when I'm done working and I'm done streaming, and I had my perspective like that, I feel really good. As opposed to, at the beginning of this trip, I was really stressed out. I was overworking myself, I was streaming too much, in conjunction with working a lot of casting hours. And I was also, like, dwelling a ton on what my teammates were doing. I was dwelling so much on, like, losing the game and dwelling on, like, mistakes my teammates were making. And I was miserable, man. I was actually straight miserable. I, like, hated my days. I was not in a good mood. I was irritable. And the only thing I changed was the recognition that I was doing that. And that I could only impact, like, what I'm doing in these games. And that's the only thing that's really changed. I don't think I'm playing any better, but I am winning more. And I don't think it's a coincidence. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that shenanigans, because at the end of the day, YouTube does care about that. You may not care about it, I may not care about it, but the YouTube algorithm does. So please do.